As clever as spreadsheets are, they can sometimes do funny things. Many of these mysteries will be solved by having a look at how cells are formatted. If you type a digit into a cell in Excel, it shows the digit sitting on the left-hand side of the cell. Now press the Enter key and the number pops over to the right-hand side, and the cursor moves to the next cell down. If you type a letter into a cell, the letter sits on the left-hand side of the cell, just like the digit when we first typed it in. Now press the Enter key, and unlike the digit, the letter stays on the left. If you type in some words, they will start appearing on the left-hand side of the cell and will continue beyond the right-hand side of the cell. Now, if you press the Enter key, what you typed stays stretching over to the right. If you select the cell to the right of where you've just typed this long message and start typing again, your material starts to fill the new cell, but your early material looks like it is being overwritten. You may know that Excel is good for doing calculations. If we just type in a simple sum and then press Enter, we just see the simple sum. If we try a different sum, 3 divided by 5, we get a date. In this case it's the 3rd of May. If we type in 7 divided by 56, we get a different date, but in this case it is July 1956. As we saw before, if you just type in what you think is a simple sum, it will just show the digits and the symbols you typed in, and they will be sitting on the left-hand side without trying to work out the answer. This is because Excel has decided that you're trying to type in a string of symbols and not wanting to do a sum. If you want to calculate this sum, you must first type in an equals sign and follow the sum by pressing the Enter key. The sum will then be worked out for you. And when you press the Enter key, the answer to the sum appears on the right-hand side of the cell, because Excel now thinks you want to see a number, which of course you do. If you want to divide one number by another, you use a forward slash. So to calculate 7 divided by 8, type in equals and then 7 /8, and it returns the answer. But if you forget the equal sign, the date appears because that's what Excel thinks you want to see. All of this looks a bit mad, but it makes sense if you have a look at how cells are formatted. Go to the Format menu, select Cells, and this displays this dialog box. This lets you format 6 aspects of the cell displayed according to the buttons along the top. Alignment is useful because we can use it to align text at the top of the cell and also to wrap it around the cell. By default, cells are aligned along the bottom. Font, border and fill are pretty straightforward, and you can explore these for yourself. Protection is not so straightforward, but you don't really need to understand this yet. The main thing you need to understand is number, and this will help you sort out all of the confusions we saw earlier. In number, you can see that you can choose one of 12 categories for displaying a cell. The top one is called General. This is where Excel tries to work things out for itself. It's the default setting and the one that creates some of the confusions. It's confusing that they've called the next one Number, because here, number refers to different sorts of amounts, whereas here, the word number refers to anything that you're entering into a cell, such as dates, text, currency, and so on. Number, currency, date, percentage, and text are probably the ones you'll use the most. To illustrate the difference, let's type in some of these different categories into a spreadsheet, and in the cell to the right of each of them, let's format each cell according to the category name on its left. This is done by using the Format Cells dialog box and selecting the category in question. Now we'll type in the same thing into each cell, and they're all displayed differently. We'll create a simple table to record expenditure by one person over 1 week. We'll use these 7 cells to present days of the week, and we'll leave the format of these as general. We'll make these cells grey so that we know where they are. Now type in MON for Monday, and we can drag the bottom right hand corner across our cells to create the weekdays automatically. Under these days, we can have a row to display actual dates. Type in the first date and then drag as we did with the days. You can now format the cells as dates and choose the format that you require. Over here we'll type in the rows to denote the cost factors that we're going to include. Excel has guessed correctly that this is text and has chosen to display it aligned to the left of the cell. But you could change this if you wish by using alignment. We now have 1 week's worth of columns and 3 rows of cost elements. We'll format these 21 cells as numbers and leave them with 2 decimal places so that we can display amounts of money spent. Now we enter our data. You can now see the advantage of numbers automatically being aligned to the right. If they all have the same number of figures after the decimal point, all the decimal points will line up, and this makes everything look tidy and easy to read. Over here we'll create cells to display totals for each cost factor. We'll format these as currency. By displaying them as currency, they will include the currency symbol. We can create the total in 3 ways. We can enter an equal sign and then click on all the cells that we wish to add up, and Excel will automatically include the addition signs. Then we press enter to create the sum. Now we can just drag that cell to duplicate it in the other cells where we want totals to be displayed. A second way is to create totals by using the summation symbol on the ribbon at the top. A third way is to insert a sum function. Double-click on the function that you require. When you use the summation button or the insert function, Excel guesses which numbers you want to add up. In this cell, let's insert a function to calculate the average value spent on meals for the week. This time Excel has guessed that the cells to be include the total as well as the individual day costs. Obviously we don't want to include the total in our average for the days, so we just click and make the selection of the cells that we do want to include. This video's covered the basics of Excel and also shown the importance of knowing how to format cells. This will avoid lots of confusion. Check out these related videos for more information about each of these topics.